welcome. I'm your host, TNT. You are watching Supernatural Lifeline Revelations, and you know what we do here? We set the captives free. I'm really excited about today because we have a community-involved pastor who is out there doing it, and not just doing it in one way, but multiple ways to bring in the souls. I want you to welcome Reverend Marcus Murchison. Welcome, Marcus.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We're glad to have you. It's funny because you are a Portland, Oregon native.
Yeah.
And so am I. Woohoo.
Yeah.
And so what brings you, how did you get to this journey where you actually came to California, started pastoring? You have such a diverse background. Just if you could just share with the people how you actually got to this place where you are right now.
So the U.S. Navy, I was a naval officer, and when I got out of the Navy in 2009, I didn't want to go back to Portland. It always rains, and so here we are in San Diego, yes. And I went down to Southern Cal and joined a local Baptist church, and there we just, we served. That was it. That's where I got my rudiments, and just serving in the local Baptist church.
Wow. So just from serving, you definitely, I mean, I remember the first time I heard you speaking was on the radio, and I thought, wow, this pastor really is anointed to teach. And when did you actually discover that you were going to be called to the ministry?
Well, I've been preaching since I was 10. I got licensed when I was 12. So this is the only thing that I've ever done with any longevity. Yeah.
Wow. 10 years old preaching, licensed at 12. That's a lot. So you are the pastor of Tree of Life Ministries in Watts.
At Watts.
And a lot of people hear Watts, and the first thing they think of is this is a rural community, to say the least. It's impoverished, and that there's a lot of gang activity. They think of the Watts riot. Talk about the journey that brought you to Watts and what you've been doing in that community.
So the question that was posed to Jesus was, can anything good come out of Nazareth? And so I liken that to Watts, but also to any suburb or inner city. You're going to have dysfunctions and challenges in both. Really, for me, it's just a competition of resource. Karl Marx talks about the haves and the have-nots, and that really is where the equilibrium is, where we find dysfunction. And so if we limit the actuality of the dysfunction and bring Jesus, who is alternative, then I think that we create an equal ground. And so that's all that I've done, is I've taken the gospel where Jesus, 92% of his ministry was not inside of an institution called church.
That's right.
It was outside.
Right.
So what I've done is decided to take the ministry outside and then present God in a way that people can receive him.
And some of the churches criticized some of the methods that, which I was just talking about in my previous show, about the methods that God is using to actually reach the souls, which are very, to me, it's kind of interesting because when you really look at it, they were criticizing him. You don't wash your hands with us, and why do your people not fast? And why are you eating on this day? And why did you heal him on a Sunday? Like, they found any reason to be upset. Why are you eating with sinners? Why are you talking to that woman? He was very out the box.
Right.
And it really seems like the same thing that happened to Jesus is happening to those who are really truly called to help the people in that same position and calling them out. What are some of the programs that you have been implementing that are technologically transforming lives and helping people there?
So for me, it really comes out of the mantra of the country, United States of America. In 1782, they decided to make the motto that they would put on money, e pluribus unum, which means from many comes one. Well, it was changed over in 1956. Eisenhower said that that's not good enough, because from many, one did not come. One train of thought, one mindset did not come, and one people didn't come. So they changed it over in 1956, and it became In God We Trust. And it's been In God We Trust anyway. So here's my application to that, that when we spend money, our money makes prayer for us. Whether you pray or not, when you spend your money, you are praying. So the question I ask is, how do you spend your prayer? We know the prayer, or the word says, if my people which are called by my name would humble themselves and pray. Now that's what the church says in one instance, but we only make prayer an anatomical structure. It is the tradition of prayer. So what I did is decided that we would invest in our people. We would put the money and the resource back into the people and show them that they can come up. So we created a whole bunch of empowerment programs. For me, it's not about traditionalism, nor is it about liturgical, because I think what the church has done is it has tried to make cloning legal, and cloning is illegal to God. We all have a different experience, a different path, and your vantage is going to be different than mine. And so with that, we get a broader scope to understand God. No one person knows God. No one. You learn God based off of the revelation he gives you. So he may show something to you that he didn't show to me.
Right.
So no one's wrong. I know him to be some way, and you may know him to be somewhere else. And so we learn broadness of God by the different experiences. So one of my main is to take the disenfranchised and the marginalized. So we have a prison program where we serve individuals that are just getting out of incarceration, and that has been a true blessing. Some of my best members, quote unquote, are individuals who have served life sentences.
Yeah.
I've got a gentleman right now who's one of my best deacons. He did 58 years in prison.
Wow.
58
my
years.
goodness.
Yeah, 58 years at
Wow.
one time. I'm not talking about getting out, going back. One stretch, 58 years. So prison is tied to me. The homelessness is a huge issue. I serve on the board with Supervisor Mark Ridley Thomas in this homelessness, and we have a couple of transitional houses and drug and alcohol programs. And what I find is that in America, African Americans are 14% of the population. However, when you talk about homelessness, we're 62% of the population of homelessness.
Wow.
So if the church doesn't address that, then how are you calling yourself the church? Because Matthew chapter 25 says, when I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was thirsty, did you offer me water? When I was in prison, did you come to see me? So how you handle the least of these is how you handled me.
Yes.
And so what I've done is I've enacted that. Matthew 25 alive is what we call it.
Wow. That's really great. And now you also have a health center?
Yes. Yes, so God was...
How'd that get started? Like what you don't see very much, which I would love to see more churches have health centers. I mean, healthcare is very important to people.
It is. It was prayer. When I got to Watts, I just, as a sociologist, I looked at all of the problems, and I didn't want to recreate ministry. Just take the issues that are before me and address them.
Address them.
That's it. And so healthcare was one of those top tier issues. So we fought. It had to go all the way up to Capitol Hill. Congresswoman Maxine Waters was so integral in helping us to be able to accomplish that. We are the only church in Southern California that has a medical clinic in the church.
Wow.
It doesn't matter what size or what reformation, we're the only one.
That would be really great to see more of that. That's awesome. To have your healthcare in the church, a medical center in the church.
Yes.
Have other churches come to you
Yes.
to find out how to duplicate this process, or have you done any workshops to show how to duplicate this process?
Yes, so I host a conference once a year called What's Up. Well, that's the name of our community development corps.
Okay.
So we have a CDC called What's Up, and so every year I do like 100 watts or 200 watts, and so what I do is I sit down and I talk to people who are interested in empowering the people that they serve or the places where they live, and we just show them the ways. One thing that is very important to understand is you don't have to recreate the wheel. So what I'm really good at is going to those who already do the work,
right,
and inviting them to come in. So that's what happened with the medical clinic. It's not something that I started from the ground. I found a group and an organization that wanted to serve, but had no way to serve in Watts. So I brought them to Watts.
Wow,
Yeah.
This is amazing. So with all your programs happening, what have you seen with your church membership?
Church membership has increased, as it should, because we are now not serving the church, the building, we are serving the body, the people.
Yes.
And when you serve people, people go where they're served.
Yes.
And my sociological perspective is that the church should function as the DPSS office. DPSS exists because the church is absent of doing what it was doing. In the 60s, that's who we went to. We went to the church. Dick Gregory said that black folks went to either NAACP or they went to the church. This generation is the first generation that doesn't go to the NAACP and they don't go to church. So then the question is why? Well, it's because it's not relevant. They're so detached from it. They feel alone. They feel isolated. So
what about programs to encourage entrepreneurship.
Of course. I'm an entrepreneur at heart.
Right.
And so that is one of the huge components of What's Up, is taking that investment and investing it back into our people so that they become the entrepreneur, the dreamer that they were.
Yeah.
So we definitely cultivate that.
I go to my church that I go to. I travel a lot when I do ministry, but heavily built on entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And pursuing your dreams.
Sure.
And I teach a leadership class via Zoom every Wednesday, and we're on there. We bring different guest speakers on, and we're talking to them about filling out your 501c3 form.
Sure.
There's meetings where we'll help you with the paperwork, getting your fictitious business name, getting your LLC, getting incorporated, and the steps you need to take to actually do that, and helping people to see it's really a mindset.
Sure.
To really see themselves out of the situation that they're in. And I'm loving what I'm seeing, because breaking a poverty mindset and bringing businesses will transform communities.
Sure.
And realistically, I was telling one of my children that prior to segregation being removed, blacks actually went to support other businesses, and it was really encouraged more. They encouraged themselves because they had to start their own businesses to have what they needed.
Sure.
So entrepreneurship was high. You saw a lot of that. So when you hear where you see poverty, encouraging the people to start their own businesses. This is an age of information. You can get anything that you need. It's just a matter of, do you want it? And do you find that there's people who, some people just don't want to work and don't want they'd rather just sit into a system that doesn't work for them and remain in it. How do you deal with those individuals to help them come out of that mindset?
You tap the passion. So passion is usually what is going to produce productivity and commerce. So if you find your passion and you do that, then it's never work, and it's not a system or a structure outside of yourself.
So do you have an example?
So for me, I'm passionate about homelessness. So it was no work for me to go get into transitional living, and because it was never work. Now, the passion produced the economy that comes with it.
Right.
If you chase the money, you'll never have it.
Yeah.
But if you chase the passion produces the wealth and the money.
True.
So it was, I think Howard Thurman said it best. He said that ask not what the world needs, but rather ask yourself what makes you come alive, and do that. For what the world needs is people who have come alive. So if you do what makes you come alive, then you will never look at it as work. And if you are committed and passionate about it, then the fruit of your passion will produce what it is that you have. Where there is vision, God always has provision.
Yes.
So the provision doesn't come before the vision, which is why he says that where there is no vision, people perish, because provision is what produces, vision is what produces the provision.
This is really good. I really want to visit back to you talking about your medical clinic that you have, being that you're the only church in California that has that. What does it look like for the future, those type of medical centers opening up in the churches, or encouraging the church to actually take care of a need like that?
Sure. So that is something that we're definitely exploring now. We have a pilot that we're running to try to take our medical clinics and make them mobile, being that the issues of healthcare are becoming larger and more disproportionate. The churches are the hubs. They are the hub. That's the best way to connect yourself to the populace of the people.
LA Care is doing it now.
Yes.
Now they're calling people saying, hey, this is part of your health plan, and we can come to your house. You don't have to come to us. We'll come to you.
Sure.
And then, so I said, wait, but I'm with this, I've been with the same place for a long time up in Hollywood. Oh, well, that's fine. You can stay with that one, but we're going to come to your house, and you can have a meeting with the doctor on this computer.
Right.
And so she comes, she puts, she starts listening to my heartbeat. She puts the computer on.
Sure.
And the doctor can hear my heartbeat.
Exactly.
On the other end.
Exactly.
Technology is so amazing. And so I was thinking, wow, I'm literally seeing a doctor from my bedroom.
Yes.
And it's not affecting my own doctor.
Yes.
And they're getting paid.
Yeah.
And they say things like, so when can we schedule your next appointment for a follow-up?
Sure.
So literally, they are going to get paid every time they come.
Sure.
But the convenience is like the fact that I can order groceries now and have them delivered if I don't want to. I was just in the Bahamas and in 5 different states in 8 days, and I'm ordering food to have it delivered to the house. Like, okay, so the groceries are coming at this time. It's great.
Sure.
Like, I don't have to leave my house.
Sure.
And so it makes it convenient. So what's funny is happening is I don't want to go to my doctor anymore.
Sure. So you're talking about TeleMed. So TeleMed, and we have the technology of TeleMed. With our test, we can take 1 drop of blood and run 14 batteries of tests. And you can be in the Sudan, you can be in Saudi Arabia, you can be anywhere in the world, and we have the ability to get to you. That's what God would do. Sometimes you can't always get to him.
Right.
But he's always able to get to you.
Oh, amen. Well, I'm so glad about that. Because he has always reached me when I need it. But it was a perfect opportunity when it came to me, because I was like, I can't stand driving up there. It takes, and I got to go through traffic.
Sure.
And so it was amazing, because I thought, I like this. I want to see more of this. So if the church can be involved in something like that.
Yes.
And not only their members visiting, the doctors visiting their members, visiting people and transforming lives, amazing.
Sure.
Now, do they make sure that, do you have to, is there a call to make sure it was separated, like church and state, and make sure you're not evangelizing to them?
Sure.
What the bylaws look like for that?
Yes. So that's the reason why we had to go all the way to Capitol Hill, and it was a long, exhaustive period. It took us about 3 years to accomplish it.
Wow.
But we were successful, and so now we're trying to go back and appeal to do a broader scope, so that we're not the only institution, but now we can open this up to do pilot. But as you said, yes, there's going to be some guidelines, but the great thing about that is if you are creative and as passionate, you can always find a loophole. Yeah.
Hey, there's always a need.
There's always
a need.
Always.
So
There it is. There you go.
See a need, fill it.
There you go.
I like that. So this is really great. I think this is an awesome opportunity for many churches to start opening up their eyes and seeing. I actually was at Juicy Juice getting my regular ginger drink or whatever, and I looked down at the magazine, and I was like, oh, that's Reverend Murchison. I was like, what is it? Oh, this is amazing. I started reading it, and I was like, oh, I have to have him on my show,
well,
because this is the type of revolution that we need to revolutionize the church.
Sure.
And if the church is looking for an outlet, these are the type of community programs that we need to implement. And as long as there's bread in the house, people will come. As long as they're being delivered, they'll come. As long as they're seeing a transformation, they're going to come. People are longing for Jesus. And, that says the kingdom of God is not a matter of talk, but about demonstrating his power and loving the people, whether that's correcting, whether it's programs or it's helping them, feeding them in prison ministries. And I did prison ministry for a number of years, and I haven't for a while. My girlfriend, that's a chaplain, does, but these are the things that the church is called to. And the widows, the elderly, taking care of. These are important factors, and we have to now, I believe, get creative. But I do think that a lot of people do not want to move with technology, because truth is, a lot of people, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get on Zoom. I don't want to go viral. I don't want to, they don't want to move with technology, especially older people. They fight that heavily, which is, I feel like there's a fight to pull church, like we were talking about Kanye West, pull these people back into the 4 walls when they're not called to the 4 walls. I think you just mentioned it, the percentage of Jesus, actually his time was completely outside of the 4 walls.
Exactly.
The ministry was broad. So I believe in this new millennial that we're gonna see God reaching people in all these other avenues, and people are going to have to recognize that he's using technology, he's using the transformation of culture, he's using different avenues. What do you say about that when you see God really reaching people and keeping them in their scope? I tried to tell my class this morning, I was saying, you know what, like I said, I'm not going to call a math teacher to teach me track and field.
Right.
I'm not going to call a swim coach to come do my nails.
Right.
I'm not going to call my hair person to do something else. I need the expert in your area.
Exactly.
And God uses the expert in that area. So why are you trying to pull that person away from their expertise and make them fit into your box?
Right.
You know, Jesus was always doing things that bothered people and shook them the wrong way.
Sure, sure. So for me, I think the integral word that you said was culture. The problem with many of our churches is that it doesn't keep up with the modern culture. Church is one of the only places that we're usually 25 years behind the dominant culture. So in any other form, music, entertainment, movies, art, you will find that the culture shifts every 4 years. Every 4 years. And this modern music, I mean, I don't know any of it because it changes every 30 days. And so, but the church is the only place you can go, and we're still singing old 100 hymns, and that's it. And so a church that only engages from the traditions, and traditions aren't bad. I'm not knocking anyone's tradition.
Right.
But what I'm saying is there's a difference between being traditional and transitional.
Right, transitional.
Transitional.
And I was trying to tell someone the other day, I was saying, look, I said, how did Egypt actually fall? They were the, I mean, number one. How did they fall? I said, they failed to move with technology.
Exactly.
And if whoever moves with technology is going to stay on top.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's like, you guys got spears, we got guns.
Right.
We got guns, we got cannons.
Right.
We have cannons, we got nuclear bombs. You have to move with that. I mean, Nokia one time had everybody.
Right.
The sidekick was the thing to do.
Right.
And you don't see neither one. No. They didn't advance. VHS, beta, the VHS to CDs to MP3s. Completely, you have to move with technology.
Yes.
And so it's important for us to, as a culture, to be able to willing to adapt, and not that we're being like the world, but we are transitioning. I think that's the word you were saying.
Yes.
Transitional into things that are going to help us to evolve and to grow. You could turn anything to anything satanic or negative, or you could say, you know, I could decide I'm going to start worshiping this statue right here, and now it's demonic. You know, it's like we have to really look at the fact that this is not a demonic system because you're moving with technology. It is what you make of it. That dollar bill is what you make of it. It's how you use it, and how it determines, its user will determine whether it's holy or it's not.
Sure.
You know? So, and truth be told, many of those dollar bills have passed through places you would never be. So you have no problem spending them. It comes to you, and now it is what you make it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're making it work. I'm glad that you're making the culture work. I'm glad that you're transforming a city that really is forgotten in many areas.
Yes, yes. And it was the epicenter of black culture here in Southern California. You wanted to do anything, you went to Watts. Watts had all of the restaurants, all of the businesses, black-owned, and today, after the Watts riots, it still lies in ruins. And so it is my vision, my hope, and my prayer that we will resurrect Watts to be back what it once was.
That's really awesome. I really think that if you have a few people, you can start with one or two, what you're already doing, and then multiply that vision. Anything can happen.
I appreciate that.
That's amazing. So if you could look in the camera and just pray. I would pray for the communities, the outreaches, the pastors, and the people. If you could just pray and just anything you want to say before we go into prayer, how people can reach you, if they have any questions about community development, involvement, what they can do, how they can connect with you, that would be really good. So first off, start off with telling them how they can reach you, anything you might have coming up, anything that's important that you want to say, and then I would love for you to pray.
Thank you. So you can reach us at our church, Tree of Life Missionary Baptist Church, 9702 Holmes Avenue, City of Los Angeles, 9001, area code 323-566-1202. Or you can go right on the website. Technology is great. www.wattsupcdc.org. And there you'll be able to find a list of our programs, our services, and you can contact us that way as well. Let me say to anybody that has the endeavor to do anything, just do it. Do it afraid, do it by yourself, do it with someone, do it with God. But whatever you do, don't do anything. You got to do something for us to continue to allow the problem and your greatness to be embellished only by hidden, because you had the fear of not doing is never going to give you the results. You got to do it. You got to do it. All right, let me pray for you. Father, I thank you so much for everyone that has the passion, the desire to go forward. I pray that you would strengthen their hands, strengthen their lives, strengthen their cords. Send them the vision this evening that they might be able to see what it is that you have for them in the land of the living, and then you would be able to equip them with the provision. I pray that you would be able to open doors, that their contracts, that their business ideas, that their spending capital would all be met because of the vision that you impregnated them with. Allow their hands to be in the positions that they are able to receive and their feet to be on the ground that they be able to move. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing more better things about what you're doing in this community and why.
I can't wait.
Okay, so you have that festival when everything is up and running and all cleaned up. Oh. Okay, speak life over that project.
Thank you. Thank you.
We want to thank you for watching. I hope that you have a passion for the souls and that you are coming up with ideas and innovative ways where you can transform the lives of many people. That's where God is. He's put passion in your heart for people. He's all about the souls. I am your host, Prophet Taryn N Tarver, and you are watching Supernatural Lifeline Revelations. We just had Reverend Marcus Murchison, and we want to thank him for being with us today. Thank you, and tune in next week. Remember that your timeline is somebody else's lifeline. God bless you.